So our next book we're going to look at is Harriet the Spy, which you may or may not have heard of. It's also a classic, and I think a movie. I haven't actually seen the movie, but I'm pretty sure. I found the oldest covers of it possible. This is actually my copy from when I was not as old as I am now. And I'm just going to jump in and read a little bit to you. And again, let's keep listening for those types of characterization. Do we hear appearance? Do we hear examples of action, of thought, of dialogue? Chapter 1. Harriet was trying to explain to Sport how to play town. See, first you make up the name of the town, then you write down the names of all the people who live in it. You can't have too many or it gets too hard. I usually have 25. Sport was tossing a football in the air. They were in the courtyard of Harriet's house on East 87th Street in Manhattan. Now I'm going to interrupt myself. If you're looking at this on the page, I just want to point out these are examples of direct dialogue. So we see that they're in quotation, and we start with Harriet, and then we get a new paragraph, and Sport is talking. Okay, let's keep going. This is Harriet talking again. Then when you know who lives there, you make up what they do. For instance, Mr. Charles Hanley runs the filling station on the corner. Harriet spoke thoughtfully as she squatted next to the big tree, bending so low over her notebook that her long straight hair touched the edges. Don't you want to play football? Sport asked. Now listen, Sport, you never did this and it's fun. Now over here, next to this curve in the mountain, we'll put the filling station. So if anything happens there, you remember where it is. Sport tucked the football under his arm and walked over to her. That's nothing but an old tree root. What do you mean a mountain? That's a mountain. From now on, that's a mountain. Got it? Harriet looked up into his face. Sport moved back a pace. Looks like an old tree root, he muttered. Harriet pushed her hair back and looked at him seriously. Sport, what are you going to be when you grow up? You know what? I'm going to be a ball player. Well, I'm going to be a writer, and when I say that's a mountain, that's a mountain. Satisfied, she turned back to her town. Now that's a short excerpt, and as you probably noticed, there was a lot of talking in it. One thing I'm going to point out is our last excerpt for today is about a girl who wants to be a writer. You can see her writing, and she also gets embroiled in a mystery. And in fact, all of these books end up with these young characters ending up kind of solving mysteries and being involved in pretty adventurous situations. I thought this book was amazing when I was young because I, in addition to wanting to be a writer, wanted to be a private detective. So I spent a lot of time walking around with a notebook, taking notes on things and like brushing for fingerprints. You're all probably not as strange as I was as a young person, but if you are a little strange, it's okay. And sometimes it's great because it means you can see the world in interesting ways. And so what we hear in that excerpt is Harriet can look at an old tree root and see a mountain and make up a story. And her friend Sport, who likes to play sports, because his name is Sport, and there's nothing wrong with that, he just doesn't see it. He's not seeing the world in the same way. So, as we said, we get a lot of dialogue from Harriet right away. Quote, see, first you make up the name of the town. Then you write down the names of all the people who live in it. You can't have too many or it gets too hard. I usually have 25. So we learn about her from hearing her talk, from her dialogue. We learn that she's creative and imaginative. We also learn that she's kind of bossy, right? She's got this whole game, and she wants to play it. And we learn that she's kind of on a mission. She's creative and she knows what she's going to do. I'm going to be a writer. So, as we talked about in the beginning of this workshop, there are in fact 3 different kinds of dialogue, but we're going to stick with direct dialogue so we don't get things too complicated. All direct dialogue means, again, is quotations of a character speaking directly. So that quote that I'm not going to make you listen to me read 4 times in a row, but you can see it right there. It's in quotation marks. And dialogue, what characters say and how they say it, is another way of creating a character who seems real. So for our next and last writing exercise, which again, we're going to take about 10 or 15 minutes to do, we're going to keep working with the character that you've created. Now, I should say, if while you've been working on this or listening to this, you're like, oh, I wish my character was named something else, or oh, I wish I'd given my character red hair. You can change it. I'm not telling you you're stuck with a character, but you do now by now have a character on the page. So if you don't have new ideas for them, you can just keep going. You're going to take your main character and the character that they were planning to run away with, and I want you to imagine that they're packing. They are packing for their trip. And one character wants to pack something the other doesn't think they should take. And you're going to start a conversation, direct dialogue, with this sentence. Quote, I don't think you should take that because, and from there, you're going to have them argue. Now, it doesn't have to be a serious argument. I'm not suggesting let's write something where people have a terrible, vicious fight at all. But what we're looking for is a little bit of conflict and tension, because we haven't talked about this that much, but conflict and tension is at the root of fiction. There aren't that many great stories about people who are having a really nice day, and that's awesome. Mostly, people are trying to get somewhere and do something, and they have to overcome hurdles to do it. So this is not a serious hurdle, but this is a little bit of tension and a chance to write some dialogue. So here's an example. I don't think you should take that hat because it's 95 degrees out, Sally said. But it's my favorite hat, Mark replied. I can't leave home without it. It could be that they're arguing over something like a hat. It could be that they're arguing over something more serious. Maybe your character wants to take a phone and the other character said, no, that's how they'll trace us. You don't have to use that example. It can be anything that you want. So why don't we jump in and try to pull everything here a little bit together. You've got your character, they've got names, maybe they've got some appearances, both of them, and now they're going to have a conversation. This might take a little closer to 15 minutes. Sometimes writing dialogue can be challenging, and then once you get started, it can be hard to stop. But just have fun with it. So hopefully you had some fun with that last exercise. And one thing I want to point out is that as a result of these 3 exercises, you've written the beginning of a story, and you can go back and you can change whatever you want. And maybe you've already changed it and you started trying to follow the prompt, but you went in a different direction. That's not doing it wrong, that's doing it right. You just want to go where your imagination takes you. I want to talk a little bit more about dialogue because I do think it can be the most challenging part of writing fiction or nonfiction. It's probably the most technical piece of it, and sometimes it can be hard to sort of think, how do people talk and how do I write dialogue? So these aren't exercises we're going to do today, but I'm going to give you some exercises that if you want to keep working on dialogue, you can practice later. So a really great way to gain practice at writing dialogue is to interview people, actual real people, not imaginary people. And because of doing that, you get to hear more how people talk. Now, I interview people for a living constantly, sometimes too much, and I'm just like, shh, stop talking so much. But it is definitely the best way to learn how people talk. So the next time you have the chance, I want you to make a list of 5 questions for someone in your life. This could be a parent, it could be a sibling, it could be a grandparent, it can be the mail deliverer if they have time to be interviewed. I know that you might not see a ton of people right now, but whomever it is, one person, and it doesn't have to be in person, it can also be on the phone, and it can break up your normal conversations. Just call up a friend and say, hey, can I interview you? Ask them the 5 questions that you've written down, and those 5 questions can be anything. There's kind of 2 kinds of questions. There's questions that we call closed, and there's questions that we call open. A closed question would be, how old are you? It's closed because there's really only one answer. I'm 15, I'm 40. An open question is one where you don't know what they're going to say, and they could say anything. So if you were to ask someone, hey, if you were going to run away, where would you go? That's an open-ended question, because you don't know where they're going to go. To make it even more open-ended, where would you go and why? And then they have to start talking a little bit about themselves. So try to write down 5 kind of open questions. You know, it can be anything from what do you want to do in 10 years to what's your biggest fear? Some interesting questions. Ask those questions and write down what they say exactly. That's the dialogue. It's what they're actually saying in quotations. Now, easier said than done. It can be kind of hard to write down exactly what people say. People talk fast. Sometimes we don't write as fast. So one thing you can do, if you have a cell phone, you can tape it on your phone. If you don't have a cell phone and you have a tape recorder, I think there's still tape recorders, you can tape record it. Do your best. If you don't have a phone or a tape recorder, just listen and write down as much as you can. Listening to real people talk and writing down their words can help so much learning how to write dialogue. Another thing, if you don't feel comfortable interviewing people, and I know sometimes people, it can be hard. If you're a little bit shy, it can be hard to get used to this idea of asking people questions. Eavesdrop. And you can always eavesdrop. Now, I do this with my students a lot. I actually send them out to eavesdrop on other people. If you have anywhere to go, even if it's just in your own household, maybe you know, your mom's talking to your dad or your uncle's talking to your cousin or whomever, just go sit in a room nearby and listen to what they're saying and try to write down what they're saying, just so your ear can start to hear how people talk. So again, when we think about this idea of creating tension, and if you work on your story, I want you to think about this idea of not just showing who a character is or putting them someplace or having a conversation, but you put it all together. Action, appearance, thought, and dialogue to show the tension of what they're trying to do. So think about Meg and how she had this conflict with her appearance and her temper. Part of what's going to happen in this story, A Wrinkle in Time, I don't want to ruin for you, is she has to kind of come to grips with that. And Claudia has to come to grips with why she's running away. And Harriet has to figure out how to reconcile her desire to become a writer and to want to have all these adventures. That's something to think about as you keep working on your story. So I'm going to give you some more future creative ideas and exercises so that if you want to keep doing some writing prompts after this, you can. The first thing, I just want to say it again, if you feel like you started writing something that you like, just keep writing the story. It's fun to have it all in the same notebook. It's fun sometimes if you're just a little bored or you have some time, take 10 minutes and just keep working on it. Here are some other writing exercises. When you feel like writing or you're not sure what to write, and it's the great thing about writing prompts and writing exercises is that maybe you feel like writing something but you don't know what, so you grab an exercise. There's a million exercises in the world. In fact, assuming you can get on the internet, just Google writing prompts and a whole world will open up. So think about your best friend. That can be a person, a parent, a friend, a dog, a cat, whomever, and start a story from their point of view. Can you write a story seeing the world from different eyes other than your own, but someone that you do know pretty well? Write a paragraph describing your favorite room in your house and use lots of sensory details. Really try to show that room. If it's the kitchen, what does it smell like? If you're writing about the bathroom, maybe don't write about what it smells like, but you know, the kitchen or your bedroom, describe your bedspread, whatever room it is. Why is it your favorite? And this last exercise takes us a little bit back to this idea of dialogue. Pick a person you admire, real or imaginary. It doesn't have to be someone you can ever talk to, but write out 5 questions you'd like to ask them. So if there's someone who you think is amazing in the world, maybe it's an actor or a writer or a teacher or a politician or someone famous, write out what you would like to ask them and then write out what you think their answers would be. So basically have kind of an imaginary interview with someone. Those are a couple of future creative ideas. There's a lot of them in the world. I hope that you had fun writing today, and I hope that you keep writing. Thank you so much for writing with me today. I really wish we were all together so I could hear your work. One of the things about being a writer is that it can be really fun to have other people read your work. So at the end of this workshop, we'll give you an option so that you can share your work with others and read their work as well. Thank you.